So now what we want to do is try a multi-rig camera. So I have my animated camera. I'm going to turn off the cameras that we're looking through. So, show, turn off camera, just so it's not cluttering the viewport. Basically, Control D from the first frame will duplicate your camera. It won't carry any of the animation attributes. So now we're just going to call this animated multi-node camera. And what we're going to basically do is just I want to change the film aspect to 2.35 on this. I forgot to do that. That'll match our render gate. But let's do this first. Display, rendering, camera light manipulator, clipping planes. This actually creates a frustum from the camera so that we can see exactly where the camera is looking. But what you can see is the camera's frustum is at a 1:8:5 ratio instead of our 2:3:5 that we're rendering. So that's the thing I was talking about, where you have your render settings and then also your camera film gate. So what you want to do is just go over and change the film aspect ratio for your camera to 2.35. So now that we have that, now you can see the frustum extends to the end of our image. So now we just want to do a Command G several times to group the camera. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, so open them up. And now we have 4 groups. Now that I don't have anything in that, we're just going to name them right now. The first one is XYZ underscore trans for translate. Second one is Y rot, Y rotation for your pan. And then the third will be your X rotation for your tilt. So X rot. And then now we'll do the Z rotation, which is effectively your roll. So now what we want to do is we want to isolate those. Oh, yeah, I forgot to type tilt and roll. So now what we want to do is we want to select and isolate so you can only do those features in that group for the camera. So right now you have the animation, parameter of where the camera's at. So what you want to do on the group for the XYZ trans is you want everything to be locked. So rotate X all the way to scale 1, right click, lock selected. And then Y rotation, you want to, again, right click, lock selected. And isolate everything except for rotate and Y. Now go down to X rotation, do the same thing for the X rotation. So what you're basically trying to do is isolate your camera into different functions so that you can easily step through these groups and animate those instead of trying to do it all in one. You'll see this in a second. So you just go through all of them, and now I'm isolating everything but the Z rotation. So now if we step through, now you can see Z rotation is the only thing that can be moved. I forgot the Y value, so now that's locked. So now the only thing you can do in the X rotation is X, and then the Y rotation only Y. And then in the translation, it's only XYZ, no rotation. There you go. So then now what you can do is basically set a key for the first frame. Everything we want for this instance is we've already set up our initial start. That's our projection. So now we have that. There we go. Zoom in. There you can see the frustum. And now we want to step up to the XYZ. And you can do that with the number pad by up and down arrow and cycle through all those. So here we go. XYZ. We set our first key, so that's all set. I just centered the pivot back on that group. For some reason it moved away. So now you can see exactly where the camera is looking with that frustum. Go to last frame, 72. We're basically doing this. And now you're pushing in. Now you can only push in an X, Y, and Z and translate. So now you're just basically trying to get a good composition and distance that you think you might cover, and then set key. And then you can see the movement there. And now just step down, the Y rotation. So the only thing that can actually move here is first set the first key. And then now go to the last. So now the only thing that's maneuverable is the Y rotation. So now you can go to rotation, and then you can see the only thing you can move is Y. So it really makes it kind of cookie cutter in this sense. You isolate each element and get them how you like. And what's nice, I'll show you later in demos, that you can add noise like fractals and different parameters, and this way you can do them to each different element and really create a more complex camera. So now do a little bit of X rotation. And what's nice is once you set these keys, you can keep looking at your start and last frame and really just go back and forth without having to, move everything. And on a single cam, you're kind of doing an all for one when you set that key. So you've got the rotational value, you've got the translation, and what's nice about this is it really kind of just isolates each element cleanly.